Before that, normally our president talks about our Rotary Club. I myself is a member of this Rotary Club of Bangladesh. I am Director of Community Services 3. As far as the Rotary Club of Bangladesh is concerned, we have a Shruti School permanent project where more than 300 handicapped children are being taught, trained in personal attention. It's an extremely high quality school we are running that project. We have a medical center on the first floor. Apart from that, various projects have been taken up year upon year. We are the leading club, second club in the state of Maharashtra, rather in India, Rotary Club, Bombay. We were established in 1954. Coming to my directorship, I have been working as a chairman of rural development since last 8 years, and I have concentrated in the Palghar. Previously it was Thane district, now it is Palghar and Thane, so Palghar district and Palghar Taluka. I have been giving service in that area. We have provided a lot of educational aid facilities, infrastructure, hostels, solar lights, not many projects. In the current year, under my directorship as a community service 3 is come to the rural development. I have my chairman, Anand Gupta, who is also past president, who was president last year. And in the rural development also this year we have a big project of providing 50 whiteboards, environment friendly for the teachers, 8x4, plus 1500 slates, A4 size for 29 schools. I had a meeting with the in charge of 29 schools in the last month, and for the whole year I have planned a lot many projects. Coming to this particular seminar, let me tell you, this seminar was started by Anand Gupta, who was the president last year, 18-19. 12 sessions were conducted first Sunday of every month. This year we have started, this is the 4th seminar of the current year. You must have observed the persons who have been coming regularly must have observed that there is a very good attendance. Our school almost, because a very interesting topic are being discussed every time, and the questions are also answered on a lot of topics. As far as I am concerned, I normally have till now confined myself to the Maharashtra Poverty Society Act rules and the bylaws, and the delegate from MSWA is normally talking on the general law of the property, development, conveyance and other things. We have our projects have helped, projects as well as these seminars have helped many societies. We get a very good report with the thanks also. This service is provided free of charge, honorary service, and I am looking forward as a director of community service, and our director for this particular service, Mr. Minu, is out of India and therefore he has not been present today. I am looking forward to a very good interesting topic. To just bring your notice, tentatively I am planning that the next meeting, my topic will be Biogas Key, and I invite any of you, at least 3 or 4 persons, to formulate the questions in the form of speech, where I will be replying in the form of speech from the podium, and those 4-5 people who are selected ultimately will answer questions, and question answer session will be there. So it will be more interactive besides the questioner and myself. This particular week of 3rd November, I would like that during the session you may think of it, who want to participate. If you get 2-3 names, it should be enough. So I call upon you, request you to come forward in the questions also, as well as to participate in the speech. If you are not comfortable here, you may participate from there also. So this is, I would like to invite you to this. Coming to the today's One more thing, important information. So far, the rules have not been published. Maharashtra Cooperative Society rules, which are expected to be published maybe right from June, have not so far been published, and therefore our talk remains a bit deficient to that extent. But in absence of the rules, we are going as per the present rules. But as you know, the law as amended, Chapter 13 is added to the Act, but the rules have so far not come. So as when the rules come, we will again call either a press seminar, or at least I have in mind to issue a booklet on various topics which we have discussed. But it all depends on the rules, and after coming with the rules, publication also I'll take at least 1 month's time to come out with the booklet. So you may send your details to me on my contact to register for the copy of booklet. So the original schedule is Ramesh Prabhu was to attend. Address is given about the recent self-redevelopment procedure, and my topic was the funds, the creation of funds, contribution to the funds, utilization of the funds, and investment of the funds. Friends, the amendments which have been recently come by way of originally by way of notification from 9th March, and thereupon on 23rd July they have been the Act has come into force. The same provision by and large except a few changes. As far as the funds are concerned, there are very few amendments, but very, very important amendments. Now, what is the difference between the Society Act relating to housing society and relating to other than housing society? As we know, there are many other cooperative institutions in the state of Maharashtra, more than 3 lakhs institutions, fisheries, and many credit societies, banks, farmers, sugar, milk, fertilizer. As far as this amendment is concerned, as I have been repeatedly telling, the new chapter has been added, Chapter 13B to the Act. As per that chapter, some of the provisions have been specifically made ineffective housing sector. The only one ineffective provision is Section 69, capital B, which relates to contribution to district level and state level committees. That is not applicable to the housing society. Remaining provisions, Section 64 to 71A, deal with other aspects of the funds, investment, what the societies can raise, accounting aspect and all these things. Out of that, 3 sections have been redrafted and has been added in the Chapter 13B applicable to only housing societies. These sections are Section 154B, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So when I deal with these matters, I specifically point out to you as to what is provided in the old provision which is now not applicable and what is provided in the new law, the amended law which is exclusively applicable to housing societies. In the entire talk is divided into 4 parts: creation of funds, contribution to the funds, utilization and the investment of the funds. But every society shall create fund as may be prescribed by rules and also as may be decided by the society from time to time. This is provided under Section 154B15. In short, I will say B15. Now, the rules, as I told you, have not been prescribed, and therefore we will rely on the bylaws, which are by and large on the same line, because as and when the rules are prescribed, there are ditto to ditto introduced in the bylaws also. So we deal with the bylaws. Now, 11 bylaws are bylaws number 12, 13, 14 and 15 of the model bylaws of cooperative housing society. What are the various funds which the society is compulsorily required to establish or create or constitute, and what are the funds which are discretionary for the housing societies to establish and create? When it comes to establishing the compulsory, say for example reserve, normally we call it general reserve, which is there in the balance sheet of every society. That is a compulsory requirement under the law. Every housing society has to have reserve fund. So what is the contribution reserve fund when we come to that slide? However, this fund is compulsorily to be established by every society. Coming to sinking fund, which is also a compulsory, but the general body of the society has to pass necessary resolution for contribution to this fund. The object of the fund, where from the money will come, where the fund will be invested, when the fund will be utilized for various purposes, that will come in appropriate slide. Repair fund is normally it's a repairs and maintenance fund. As per bylaw number 13, sinking fund, repair fund and other funds are established. The bylaws require that the general body will pass necessary resolution for constituting these funds along with the object of the funds and how it will be used. That is part of the bylaw. Under the other fund, mainly there are major repair funds. Mainly. Apart from that, there are many societies, they have the legal expenses. There are different opinions about the festival funds, but there are the festival funds, legal expenses funds, and some temporary funds with the object to collect the funds for a period of 2-3 years and use it. So we now continue with the individual funds contribution to the funds, where from the money will be collected from these funds. Now coming to the reserve fund, as I told you, it is a compulsory mandatory fund, and therefore the Act itself provides as to where from the money will come this fund. And let me tell you, when you finalize the accounts of the society, you have to make sure that you follow the provisions of the law. Now what are these contributions? Number one, for admission of the member, you charge an entrance fee. For transfer of the shares, you charge transfer fees and transfer premium, subject to the respective limits. The transfer fee is 500, transfer premium is subject to 25,000 maximum. Then the donation in the society received. Then the redevelopment. At the time of redevelopment, we are asking for some corpus. That is also part of this reserve fund. Even at the time of construction of the building by the developer himself, we call it promoter, he contributes some funds. All these funds are credited to reserve fund. We normally understand it as general reserve. Every year when you finalize the balance sheet of the society, please make sure that these contributions, which are mentioned, entrance fees, transfer fees, voluntary donation, corpus fund, money received from redeveloper, money received from the original promoter, are all credited to this fund. Section 66, subsection 2 is very specific that out of the surplus every year, out of the surplus, 25% of the net profit or net surplus is to be compulsorily transferred to general reserve or reserve. I have come across many societies, either they don't transfer or the transfer is less than 25%. If there is a surplus in the balance profit and loss account, before you carry forward the surplus to the next balance sheet, you must transfer at least 25% to the general reserve. Coming to the sinking fund, as I told you, since the rules have not been prescribed so far, we are relying upon the bylaws. Bylaw number 13, clause C says that minimum 0.25% per annum of the cost of construction of the flat or the cost of construction which may be certified by the architect of the society. Of that amount, 0.25% is to be collected per annum from every member. 0.25% minimum. If the general body decides for the higher amount, it can collect the higher amount also. For that, the general body has to pass a resolution to the effect that they would like to collect more from the members. This all depends on the nature of construction, the nature of requirement in the future as to how much money will require to rebuild your flat or the building. So for that purpose, sinking fund contribution should be decided by the general body. Repairs and maintenance fund is, again this is also has to come through the general body only. The minimum prescribed is 0.75% of the cost of construction of the flat or the cost of construction that may be incurred as certified by the architect of the society. Minimum 0.75%. The general body can decide to charge more also. Coming to other funds are normally constituted as and when the society requires. If the committee or the members of the society are of the opinion or the view that certain funds should be created, they have to propose the same in the general body. One of the best example is a major repair fund. As and when your building has to go for major repair, painting, or some major work relating to the building and the other properties of the society, you have to, and the amount is such a large amount that you cannot charge or collect from the members in 1 year. Then you have to plan well in advance, say over a period of 3 years or 5 years, depending on the nature of expenditure and the nature of construction you are contemplating, or the nature of repairs or major alterations required in the building. You have to establish the major repair fund. You have to write the object of that also in the general body resolution. Another sub fund is, as I told you, legal expenses fund. The one fund which is specifically mentioned under the bylaw is education and training funds. These are also very important funds. The purpose of the fund will come across. I'll deal with it when I come to the utilization of the funds. But the requirement of this fund is under the Act only and the bylaw. So the specific provision of the Act also, that provision has not been changed under the new amended law. So this relates to the creation of funds. Otherwise we can deal with the questions. There will be sufficient time. So I'll deal with all the questions. And therefore contribution to the funds I have dealt with. So sinking fund, repairs and maintenance funds, general reserve and other funds. Other funds means any fund which the general body decides. Managing committee cannot decide on this. Please keep it in mind. Managing committee cannot. Because please note down the query. I'll finish every query. Many a times I have observed that major repair particularly. Major is a burning topic. I had devoted special example and everything for major repair because recently I got a query that in one society there are 7 buildings given possession at various times. The possession which was given previously, 3 buildings are going for absolutely alteration and very heavy expenditure. The other 2 are minor repair. The and the remaining 2 are going for painting only. And the committee decided that everybody will contribute equally. So this is one example I am going to deal with because there is a burning topic I have come across. Societies come to us for the queries and there are huge disputes because of this. So I specifically devote sufficient time for this particular aspect, major repair. Other expenses depend on the general body. If you are going against a builder and if you see that you may go to the consumer forum or the builder up to the Supreme Court, then you need to have similar funds and therefore you have to provide for legal expenses. Because every time you go for the expenditure, it may not be possible to collect the funds. Every member may not be able to contribute. Coming to the next, now I deal with utilization of funds. Now utilization of, we have seen general reserve, sinking fund, repair fund and other funds. So there are 2 slides. Reserve fund is a repair maintenance fund, one slide, another slide is for sinking fund and other fund. So reserve fund, the reserve fund is primarily meant for as I told you, the contribution we have discussed. There are lot many items, and this may be possibly the biggest amount available in the hands of the general body. But reserve fund has to be necessarily passed by the general body before the committee spends, which is not the case with repairs and maintenance funds. Repair maintenance fund can be utilized by the managing committee. A reserve fund or general reserve fund is necessarily to be decided by the general body with the scope of the work as well as the utilization of funds and the various limits. So expenditure on repair, maintenance and renewal of the society property. I'll specifically go through details of this particular bylaw number 14, which describes in detail. The reserve fund of the society may be utilized for the expenditure on repair, maintenance and renewal of the society's properties. So, as and when you are falling short of funds, let me tell you, it does not include the major repair. You can use it for major repair. If you have sufficient funds, you don't go for the major repair contribution. You don't establish that fund as far as you have got the fund. But this fund is available for any kind of repairs, renewal and maintenance. Coming to the second head, repairs and maintenance fund. As we have said, 0.75% to be contributed. Every year you have to transfer it to the reserve. Friends, it is very much possible that during the year itself the committee can spend out of this fund. That is what my opinion is there. So, for regular maintenance of the building, we can use the contribution out of the reserve fund, which is being collected regularly every month or every quarter by the society. And the balance amount can be transferred to the reserve at the end of at the time of finalization of the account. Repair maintenance fund is repairs and maintenance may be utilized by committee. The very important difference. Sinking fund has to be necessarily sanctioned by the general body. General reserve is to be necessarily sanctioned by the general body, but repair and maintenance fund can be utilized by the committee on its own without going to the general body. And the purpose is meeting the expenditure on maintenance of society's property and repair and renewal of the thereof. Now, as you see, the wording is similar for the general reserve also and for repair and maintenance also. So you can understand the difference. For regular repairs and renewal, it is in the hands of the committee. It is available to the committee to use the repairs and maintenance fund. However, if it is of the opinion that the renewal, repairs and maintenance of the property of the society, the fund available is not sufficient, then it has to call the general body meeting. In general body also, general reserve and sinking fund are available. Depending on the nature of the work, the general body will pass a resolution, allow the managing committee with a ceiling on the expenditure also and a ceiling on the nature of work to be undertaken. So this is how the repairs and maintenance fund is to be used by the committee. Sinking fund. As far as sinking fund is concerned, there are restrictions. As you know, previously you have to approach the registrar for utilizing the funds, sinking fund. However, at present, there is no requirement for you to approach the office of registrar for a sanction and to allow you to use the sinking fund. Now you can use the sinking fund. It is primarily required for structural repair, reconstruction, alterations and heavy repair. I have not mentioned other three items, but it is, you can correct it. Structural repair, reconstruction, alterations and heavy repair. Normally we understand that if the building is dilapidated and you need to do a lot of things with the basic infrastructure of the property, strengthening, then the money has to come from the sinking fund. It can also be used for maintenance and renewal of the society property. It is available for that purpose also. I will refer to that particular part of the bylaws, clause C of bylaws number 14. On resolution passed in the meeting of the general body of the society, the sinking fund may be used by the society for reconstruction of its building or the buildings, for carrying out such structural additions or alterations to the building or buildings as in the opinion of the society's architect would be necessary to strengthen it or strengthen them, or for carrying out such heavy repairs as may be certified by the architect on approval of the general body. All aspects are covered here. So this is how the sinking fund is to be. Coming to the other funds, depending on the object of the funds which the society may have created, we have in example taken the major repair fund, legal expenses fund, education and training funds. As far as the other funds, major repair is concerned, I am going to deal with immediately after attending to this. To be used by committee on maintenance of the society's property for the object for which the typical fund is created. Say for example, if you have created the legal fund, then it is to be, the object of the fund is to provide funds to the committee for the purpose of litigation expenses. Means that the general body has to specifically authorize the committee for the action to be sanctioned in the whichever court, as well as the nature of litigation and the ceiling, capping of the expenditure. And therefore the committee has to every time go to the general body for all the utilization of all the funds which are created by the general body, other funds category. The committee has to go to the general body. Coming to the major repair which I was telling you. Now, if you have observed what do we collect from the members by way of maintenance, I will refer to 4 or 5 typical headings. One heading is the property tax, which is exactly you have to go as per the BMC assessment. So we don't deal with that. Lift expenses, lift repair, lift maintenance, AMC, operating expenses and operator expenses. Means every expenditure which relates to the lift is possible to typically identify. If you have number of buildings, if you have number of wings in the building, it is very much possible for you to point out as to which building or which wing that particular lift is providing the services. And therefore, as far as the lift expenses are concerned, all the expenses which are counted, repair, maintenance, operating, AMC, all are necessarily which are identifiable expenses have to be collected from that wing or that building, as the case may be, in equal ratio, not in the ratio of the area of the flat. The lift expenses, which include those 4 or 5 rates which are repeated, are to be collected from the members, from the flat owners in that particular building or that particular wing equally, be it 100 square feet pawn shop or be it 2500 square feet big flat or any commercial also. Let me tell you, commercial and residence, there is no bifurcation as far as the maintenance charges are concerned, except the property tax which is not charged by the society. It is collected by left hand and given to the BMC by right hand. Major repair is one of the, I will describe the typical example. As I told you, there are 7 buildings. Some of the buildings possession was given 40 years back. 3 buildings, 2 buildings were given possession about 30 years back, and remaining 2 buildings were given possession about 10 years back. In those 40 years back buildings, there is a huge repair is required. And the other one which was subsequently given about 30 years back also require expenses, but not that much heavy. And the one which require painting are still lesser because there is no other work involved in those. This typical example, there is a huge dispute in the society, and authorized officer was appointed, the committee has resigned, lot of things has happened that usually happen because of this. Ultimately, when the people came to me, I told them, the general principle, let me tell you, जैसे लिफ्ट का मैंने बोला, वैसा ही आप पानी का देख लीजिए। जितना इनलेट होता है फ्लैट में, वो इनलेट के हिसाब से चार्ज लगता है। दैट मीन्स इट इज आइडेंटिफाइबल एक्सपेंडिचर। पार्किंग, स्पेसिफिक पार्किंग इज गिवन टू यू एंड देयरफॉर वो पार्किंग का जो भी खर्चा होता है, इंक्लूडिंग द सिस्टम, अभी जो सिस्टम है पेडेस्टल, सो लीव, parking, what are these are the expenses which are identifiable for a particular building or a particular member, and therefore these are to be necessarily paid by concerned building or concerned member, and the same applies to major repair. In that particular case, I pointed out and the issue was by and large settled. I had to address the general body also more than once, but ultimately they understood that major repair expenses, even those first 3 buildings which were given permission 40 years back also, there also because the elevation was different, same number of members, same number of floors, but the elevation of the building was different and therefore the major repair expenses accordingly changed. जिसमें ज़्यादा इलेवेशन था उसमें ज़्यादा रिपेयरिंग आएगा, बिकॉज वाटर सीपेज की वजह से इलेवेशन खराब हो जाता है. So ultimately it was decided and rightly decided that एक बिल्डिंग का जो भी एक्सपेंस आता है it should be shared in the ratio of area of the flat. Now this particular aspect is part of the bylaws itself. As far as the major repair is concerned, it is bylaws number 14 specifically mentioned that major repair expenses are to be contributed in the ratio of the flat, and therefore you have 100 square feet pawn shop or 250 square feet commercial and 2000 square feet flat, the contribution will be in the ratio of the area of the flat. General body cannot make any changes to this particular aspect. The reason is it is there in the bylaws itself. Other funds which are left to the general body, legal expenses, blah blah blah, security expenses for example, can be taken like that. But whether to take it as a proportion to the area or equally will all depends on the nature of fund which is created by the society for collection of the fund contribution from members. Now coming to the, I think I have dealt with this issue in very much detail. This particular topic, I think many of us may not be aware of this aspect. And let me tell you, it is not of academic interest. It is a burning issue. What happens is, when action is taken against the committee member or the office bearer by the registrar, they are influential persons, and therefore the expenses for litigation, the nature of dispute is personal to the office bearer. Even then the expenses are incurred from the funds of the society. You may not be aware that there is a specific provision where society cannot use the funds of the society, section 71 capital A of the Act. You may note down. I will read that particular. No need to read, I'll tell you. Expenses for litigation cannot be deprived from the funds of the society if the nature of litigation is personal to the office bearer or the committee member. Now what are those expenses or the litigation which are personal? We'll have to go to the Act. There are 3 sections typically. Section 78 of the Act, Section 78 capital A of the Act, and Section 96 of the Act. If a committee member is suspended for persistent default in performance, etc., Section 78 empowers the registrar to suspend a committee for a particular period and appoint an authorized officer, or suspend a particular member of the committee, office bearer or member of the committee, because he is not giving sufficient time, he is defaulting in the functioning allotted by the committee as well as the functioning allotted by the general body, or the functions he has to discharge as per the bylaws of the society. If a particular member or office bearer fails, then the registrar has got a power to suspend him. Now, as we know, this suspension is personal. It had nothing to do with this society. Because he was not functioning properly, because he was defaulting in his obligations and the duties, the registrar took action by passing an order under section 78 to suspend him. आपके सभी के सोसाइटी में ऐसा केस आया होगा तो देखना है कि नॉर्मली सोसाइटी में have provided the expenses. If the auditor is vigilant, he will definitely point out this thing. But if the office bearer or the committee member is very influential, then this fund may have gone out of the fund of the society. There is specific provision that in no case section 71 capital A, please mind where these expenses have to be necessarily collected from the member only. And for some reason, if the society has spent the expenses and later it comes to the knowledge of the registrar, or for that matter any member or the auditor, then one can approach the registrar, and subsection 2 of section 71 capital A authorizes the registrar to pass an order for collecting that money from that member whose matter is being litigated, personal matter. Not only that, even after passing necessary orders under subsection 2, if the member is adamant, he can be disqualified also. Previously it was suspension. Within that provision, he can be disqualified also for a given period, and he has to resign from all the post, and he cannot participate in the election, maybe for the specified period, maximum 5 years. Under subsection 2 of section 71 capital A. The second category is removal of member. Friends, there is a difference between removal of member and suspension of member. Suspension is always a temporary phenomena. After 3 months, normally in the government department, after 3 months, जब न्यूज़पेपर टीवी सब साइलेंट हो जाएंगे तो that police officer or the person is again re-inducted, suspension revoked. But removal is a total. Removal means removal from the services, removal from the post. It's a harder this thing, and it is covered by section 78 capital A. Most of the provisions of section 78 are ditto to ditto applicable to 78A also, as for the procedure and all this. So the important thing is, if a member is, in case of removal of member, section 78 capital A, the expenses are personal to that particular person who has been removed from the managing committee, and those expenses are to be borne and paid by that particular member who has been removed. Now, what are these expenses? I'll come when I deal with the third item. I'll tell what are these expenses. The third item is decision of cooperative court, section 90. Many a times the dispute goes between member to member, committee and office bearer, ex-committee member. These are various categories which are covered by section 91. Necessarily the dispute goes to cooperative court. If the court is of the opinion that a person who is one of the litigants is the person to be held responsible, then all the expenses for litigations have to be borne and paid by. As I told you, I tell you what are those expenses. As we know, before the registrar, the society appoints a lawyer to appear before the registrar, or the division joint registrar in appeal or revision, or before the ministry under section 154, or before the cooperative court under section 91. In all these cases, if and when expenses are incurred by the society, the same are necessarily to be borne and paid by the person against whom the action is taken. Suspension, removal, or the cooperative court decision. So these are very clear, let it be clear. Many of us are not aware, and therefore I had given a special slide for this. Utilization of the society's funds. We know where to utilize, but we don't know where not to utilize. So this is a very important aspect which deals with the entire agreement of the society's provision as to expenses to be borne and paid by a particular member as far as the litigation is concerned. Friends, there are presently the Rule 55 is there. The heading of the rule is utilization and invention of the fund. investment is mentioned, section 70 of the Act, I call it Parent Act, other than chapter 13B, and section 13B had section 154B17. 154B17 the new provision, and section 70 is the original provision. Both these provisions relate to investment of the funds of the society. There are two fine differences. See, there are four clauses. Clause small a, b, c and d. Almost all the four are repeated in 154B17 also, and those are originally there in section 70 also. However, a minute change and very important change is effected in clause A and clause C while drafting the provisions for the housing society. And we must know that because sometimes these kind of fine things miss our attention. So I am specifically pointed out what are these things. See, the funds are to be necessarily invested, as you know, in the district state central cooperative bank. I will come to the instructions because of the PMC matter. The things that come in the social media. Actually वो 2013 से है, लेकिन अभी उसको उजागर किया है because of the PMC. The old provision is section 70 clause A. It says that these two banks, district and state central cooperative banks, if they have been consecutively for 3 years been given class A under the audit, then the society has to invest its funds or use them as a regular banking. However, the new provision is very good new provision. Not only A class, but if there is no district central or state central cooperative bank in the area of the housing society, then without any permission, without any procedure, the society can bank with nationalized bank. Why I am telling these things? Because in social media you have seen that circular of 5th December 2013. Because of, I think in Midar area there was some problem in some banks, cooperative banks, and which is going to happen in all the banks, possibly in cooperative sector. But then because of that the circular was issued and the societies were enabled to bank with nationalized bank, not only bank with, but even invest their money in the nationalized bank. Say for example, take the case of sinking fund. As we know, sinking fund is necessarily to be invested in cooperative bank, right? Now you have been allowed to invest in nationalized bank. Partly, if you did not have district or state central bank in your area, or because of the circular. With the help of the circular, see there is a circular, an order of December 2013. The Reserve Bank, because as you know, cooperative banks are governed by the RBI Act also, 1925. And therefore the control is there in the hands of RBI. Because the licenses of the banks have been revoked by the RBI, it was not possible for those banks to continue with the banking activity, and therefore the circular was issued on 5th, order was passed on 5th December 2013, that those societies, or rather all the societies can bank with and invest their funds in nationalized bank. See, there are the minus points in dealing with investing in a nationalized bank. The first minus point is you may be getting 7% to 8%, anything around that in the cooperative bank, whereas nationalized banks may give you 6 to 7% maximum. Another thing is, another income tax law, there is a provision under section 80 P2D करके है, उसके अंदर income from cooperative bank is exempt in the hands of the cooperative society. So if you get an interest which is higher than nationalized bank, and also you get the deduction under 80 P2D of the income tax act. So if you go to the nationalized bank, पहले तो interest income कम होता है, और जो होता है उसके income tax ज़्यादा होता है, 30%. So you get to lose 7% का 30%, तो ₹2 ऐसे ही चला जाता है. मीन्स 5% इफेक्ट ये आपके हाथ में रहता है. Whereas cooperative बैंक में 8% by and large मिलता है, 7.5-8%. So this is how, as far as the investments in district central and state central cooperative banks. Coming to the other investment हो रहा. This was clause A of section 154B 18 जो नया प्रोविजन है वो. मैंने बोला सेक्शन 70 से पैरा मटेरियल. Now clause B. Clause A के अंदर I told you there is a change. Housing societies can invest in nationalized bank with nationalized bank if there is no such bank is available in district or state bank in that area. Clause B, there is no change. It deals with security specified in Indian Trust Act. Section 20 of the Trust Act specifies certain securities wherein a cooperative institute, including the housing society, can invest its funds. Normally, this is not known to many of us, but that avenue is available. The third is, again there is a difference between section 70 and 154B18. Important difference, I point out. In section 70, see the investment is shares or security bonds or debentures issued by other society with limited liability. This is the common wording between both the sections, section 70 and 124B18, common. However, the difference is in section 70 it is mentioned that of the same class of societies. As far as 70 is concerned, is categorizes कि उसका इन्वेस्टमेंट सेम क्लास ऑफ सोसाइटीज में होना चाहिए. Whereas हाउसिंग सोसाइटी में से ये प्रोविजन निकाल दिया गया है. एंड वी नो व्हाट इज द लॉजिक बिहाइंड इट. हाउसिंग सोसाइटी दूसरी हाउसिंग सोसाइटी का फंड का सवाल बाय एंड लार्ज नहीं आता है. अनलाइक फर्टिलाइजर एंड अदर फिशरीज एंड अदर सोसाइटी में चांस रहता है कि अगर अच्छी सोसाइटी है तो दे मे कम आउट विद द सिक्योरिटीज एंड शेयर एंड ऑल दिस थिंग्स. But as far as housing societies are concerned, chances of similar nature are less, and therefore housing societies में से वो wording निकाल दिया गया है. What is that wording? The similar class, that particular word. They need not invest same class of societies. Clause C, section 70. In shares, security bonds or debentures issued by any other society with limited liability, so far so is good. This part having the same classification to which it belongs. अगर फर्टिलाइजर है तो फर्टिलाइजर क्लास वाला, मिल्क है तो मिल्क, whatever. These particular words are missing in the amended law 154B18, and therefore you can invest in the shares and securities, security ventures and all these things. Now another mode permitted, the last one is any other mode permitted by rules by general or special order by the government. This is common in both the sections. So I repeat, clause A and clause C के अंदर थोड़ा amendment है where the housing society has been given more power, whereas clause D is same. That means the government has got the power to notify as to when. जैसे कि 5 दिसंबर का सर्कुलर है, it is under this provision. Government came out that you can invest in. So by general or special order. Why general and special? Because if the government is of the view that housing society को ये benefit देना है, तो housing society के लिए सर्कुलर इशू करेगी, स्पेशल केस. और लगेगा कि नहीं सभी कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का प्रॉब्लम है, तो पूरा कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर को बोलेगी यू कैन इन्वेस्ट इन नेशनलाइज्ड बैंक. So it's a general order. So this is how the entire nitty-gritty, I think I clarified to the best possible way as far as investment is concerned. Friends, with this my presentation ends. Before I come to the question answer, next on 3rd November seminar, 3rd November, in which I am mostly 99% I am going to have a different format of the seminar. The format has skit on here. The skit may there be myself or some other lawyer along with me, and some of you or some of the people whom I will bring the question answer session. So that will be a kind of absolutely interactive. As of जैसे आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा तो मैंने बोला बाद में, वो सवाल इसमें नहीं आएगा. In the speech it will be the format of speech. So I on the spot answer the questions, and the questions which follow the questions will also be answered. So that format I am planning for. For that my request to you is send the questions also for the speech relating to the entire housing society provision. and give your note if you want to participate in the skit. We'll restrict the participation to maximum 3 to 4 persons. So please give this on my mobile number. You have my mobile number 9322274969. 9322274969. Please give your questions also, and please give your interest to participate in the. I'll come. Now just a minute only. Yeah, 9322274969. HM Suthar. Okay. Now, with this, my talk ends. Now, I will attend to the question answer. Friends, thank you very much for patient hearing. I have done my best to guide you and enlighten. Yeah. In the new bylaws, which came into effect from 2014, that is, even though the managing committee has got a power to use the funds in the repair and maintenance fund, so used to happen कि समझ लीजिए कि 1 लाख का लिमिट है आपका बिल्डिंग में 3 जगह पे काम है जिसका टोटल कॉस्टिंग होता है 3 लाख रुपया. तो व्हाट कमिटी यूज्ड टू डू, वो काम को बीच में टाइम गैप रख के 1 लाख का लिमिट के हिसाब से काम करवा दो. उसका बिल भी अलग, सप्लायर भी अलग, और सर्विस प्रोवाइडर में भी और मे नॉट भी अलग, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द सिचुएशन. दिस यूज्ड टू हैपन. A few examples came to the notice in the audit, and therefore the provision has come to the effect that if the general body wants, it can cap the maximum expenditure in a year a committee can spend under this rule. The point is, say for example, it's a big society, your limit is 1,75,000 rupees. You spend 50 lakhs rupees for so many, 30, 40. The general body can say that 10 लाख से ज़्यादा खर्चा कमिटी नहीं कर सकेगी. अगर 10 लाख से ज़्यादा करना है, तो they have to come to the general body. So subject to this cap, sir, the money is to be spent like this.
I have another question.
Yeah.
This is regarding the securities that were allowed for investment. In the second last slide or the third slide, you mentioned that the society can invest in either state cooperative societies, district cooperative societies, or securities allowed under Indian Trust Act. What are the securities allowed under Indian Trust Act?
I will not be able to name the specific securities, but there are many government, mostly Trust Act refers to most of the time government securities. Most of the government securities are specified by the Trust Act. When the government comes out with the bonds, when the government issues the bonds or the securities in the market, those securities, mostly government securities, are prescribed by Section 20 of the Indian Trust Act.
I just checked on one of the website. It said that you could also invest in JB allowed debt funds and stuff like that.
Which one?
CB, people who have registered with CB for debt funds equivalent, is it allowed as part of Indian Trust Act or not?
See, the point is why this Indian Trust Act provision are general provision, which applies to the charitable trust also, which applies to the cooperative also. The whole idea is the funds which are being invested have to be well secure. That is the whole concept. So that is how, even if you say charitable trust or public charitable trust, temple trust, they have been restricted. They have to use the invest the money in the government securities which are prescribed by Section 20. Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Sir, we are at advanced stage of self-redevelopment. My question is related to the utilization of funds. Can we utilize the sinking fund or other funds, all balance funds, for the purpose of redevelopment, like paying of consultants fees or paying for BMC, IOD expenses, etc.? Or do we require registrar's permission to utilize these funds?
Yeah, this is a very relevant question which even can throw the light, but let me tell you, I had given you sinking fund का 4 ऑप्शन दिया था उधर. इसमें एक ऑप्शन था alterations, reconstructions, heavy repair. So it is reconstruction. We have to give the wider meaning of the word reconstruction. If the society has got sufficient funds in the various funds, including sinking fund, then the general body can decide. Let me tell you, there is no question of going to the registrar. It is a question of the society's own money being used by the society, but with the permission of the general body. There was, as I told you while giving my talk, that previously there was a provision for approaching the registrar for a permission, and that had lot many all negative attached to those things. Now there is no permission required for utilizing any fund of the society. You need not go to the registrar or for that matter to any authority except the general body. The reason is general body is the supreme authority as far as the society is concerned. Section 72 of the Act is very specific. It is ultimate authority. The only provision, in fact that is the reason precisely, let me divert a little bit. Because of section 72, if a resolution is passed by the general body, the registrar cannot interfere in that resolution. You cannot say that registrar is above the general body. The general body is a supreme in its own right. The only other authority which can interfere in the resolution of the general body is the cooperative court. Let me tell you, even other courts also cannot, because the jurisdiction of the other civil courts is barred under the provisions of the Act, under section 91. So this is the supremacy of the general body's resolution.
We create a sinking fund, repair fund specific as per the bylaw. We deposit those into the respective investment on that. Interest on those deposits and those funds has to be accumulated to those respective funds.
I think the question is whether when you collect something for a particular fund, it has to be necessarily go to that fund, right? Yeah, there is a specific provision that when you create a fund in the general body, says as far as reserve fund is concerned, I explained in detail, it is a statutory requirement जिसके अंदर वो 7-8-9 कैटेगरीज है. आई थिंक 12-7 में जो लिस्ट दिया है 12-13 आइटम का, 13 आइटम का लिस्ट है रेजिंग ऑफ द फंड. आउट ऑफ दैट रिजर्व फंड के अंदर 5 आइटम स्पेसिफिकली है. एंट्रेंस फीस, ट्रांसफर प्रीमियम और नेट प्रॉफिट का 25%, 25% एंड डोनेशन. ये चीज है एट द टाइम ऑफ फाइनलाइजेशन ऑफ अकाउंट्स ओनली committee can do. These resolutions are not required to be approved by the general body appropriation के लिए, because these are part of the law. Bylaw number 12.
So my question is, suppose we earn the interest of on the sinking fund deposit. That interest also goes to the sinking fund in the next year.
The interest income from, see, when you invest a fund, say for example, you have 3-4 funds. All funds have been identifiably invested by you in different securities and the investment. The interest income is necessarily to be credited to those funds only, and that also becomes part of the enhanced investment in the subsequent periods.
As far as utilization of this fund, as you said,
Which one?
all the reserve funds, the reserve funds or the sinking fund and all the funds. Now we have a problem when we go for redevelopment. Is the general body allowed to withdraw this fund as a total reconstruction?
I reflect to the question.
No, total. See, total we will be required to nullify it.
Let me tell you,
No,
it's a very...
one more connected question. Because when we go for redevelopment, we will be having new members also who do not have any on this contribution. Therefore, we have to either nullify it, or while selling the flat, we have to have an equalizing fund from them in proportion. Equalization of fund will increase the cost. Therefore, the utilization of all these funds to be withdrawn, is it possible?
As far as the redevelopment is concerned, the first stage is demolition of the building, and the redeveloped building will come up. you have not many funds. Your share value is 50 rupees per share. Right? It may so happen that before the redevelopment, the value of your share is 1 lakh rupees per share. 50 रुपीज के बदले 1 लाख रुपया है. दैट मीन्स आपका जो 250 का शेयर है उसका रियल इंट्रिंसिक, वी कॉल इट इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू. अगर चार्ट अकाउंटेंट है इधर तो दे विल अंडरस्टैंड बेटर देन मी आल्सो. द इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर 50 के बदले 1 लाख रुपया है. तो आपके पास 5 शेयर है तो 5 लाख का आपका वैल्यू है. राइट? When the entire money utilized for the purpose of reconstruction or redevelopment of the building, what happens? जब डेवलपर को आप ये पैसा देते हैं तो उसका कॉस्ट कम होता है. आउट ऑफ से 30 करोड़ का आपका कंस्ट्रक्शन है, इसमें से 5 करोड़ रुपया आप देते हैं तो उसका इन्वॉल्वमेंट कितना है? 25 करोड़. दैट मीन्स ही विल गिव यू मोर बेनिफिट टू द अर्स्टाइल मेंबर, ओरिजिनल मेंबर. ही विल गिव मोर बेनिफिट टू द मेंबर. हाउएवर, इफ यू डोंट यूज मनी, आपका क्वेश्चन का आंसर है यू कैन यूज इट, बट हाउएवर इफ यू डोंट यूज इट, then at the time of drafting of the development agreement, your lawyer has to take care of this particular aspect. Say for example, आपका 100 मेंबर है, 100 मेंबर का 1 करोड़ का कैपिटल है, इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू. उसमें 100 मेंबर और आएंगे तो आपका वैल्यू आधा हो जाएगा. You got it? So what you need to do in the development agreement, you must have an agreement with the developer to say that for every member being admitted out of the free sale quota of the developer, you will deposit XYZ amount. Now, you have to take care of one aspect which is bothering the litigation in the department, particularly the registrars, and they are taking undue advantage of this situation. What is that? Let me tell you. There was a clause that 54,000 rupees will be paid by the incoming flat purchaser. Instead of mentioning that 54,000 will be paid by the developer with every application for flat sold. This was the wording in the development agreement. Even though the effect is same, the view was taken by the registrar that this 54,000 is a transfer premium which you cannot take more than 25. This is totally wrong view. The reason is when a free sale quota of the developer is being sold, it is not a transfer of share. It is a new member being admitted, and what you pay 54,000 is not a transfer premium. It is being taken by the society to see that intrinsic value of the share will not decrease if you take 54,000. If you don't take this 54,000, then the value of the present member's share will go down by 54,000. So that is the cost of redevelopment. Yeah, please. Hello.
My question is in two parts.
Okay.
First is that you have said that 0.25% of the construction cost can be collected as sinking fund. Now the buildings which have been built around 40 years back, the cost of construction was less. Whether we go on increasing the sinking fund retrospective or vis-a-vis every year, and one part of the question is this. The second part is since the cooperative bank, like the Mumbai District Cooperative Bank and Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank, they are in doldrums. So where do we invest those sinking funds into which other banks? Whether any other cooperative bank or, like you said, National Bank Cooperative Bank. If we invest in National Bank Cooperative Bank, we will be at a loss of that 20% or so. So whether Tarasan Cooperative Bank or SVC are allowed in this?
Yeah, these two banks are said to be on a better footing, but whatever is there, the ball is in the court of the society. Whether they would like to see the safety of the funds or the income. If they want safety, then go to the nationalized bank where the funds are guaranteed, there is no problem by and large. There is a sufficient insurance also against your deposit. Whereas in case of cooperative bank, you will earn more, you will not pay income tax. But it all depends. एक दो बैंक का आपने जो नाम लिया, बैंक as of today seems to be better. But we don't know what is in store for tomorrow. Yes, there's specific mention. I read that particular contribution के बारे में एक specific wording है. Yes, in my view, it can be increased from year to year. See, normal tendency sinking fund एक बार fix कर दिया तो it doesn't change. But in my view, general body can decide every year also, because the bylaw does not say so. It's a permanent provision. Say the sinking fund at a rate decided at the meeting of the general body subject to minimum 0.25% per annum. This per annum is not permanent. Per annum is for that particular year. Of the construction cost of each flat incurred during the construction. Now in that time, about 40 years back, the construction cost possibly was maybe few hundred rupees per square feet. Now it is maybe 3,500, 4,000, 2,500 depending on the nature of constructions. So this is a quick answer. Friends, my time for question answer will be over, otherwise it will be just to we had 3 questions maximum.
Yes. For the repairs and maintenance, we said we can use the reserve fund, and with the approval of the general body, the sinking fund as well. Now, for the major repairs when we do it, okay, is there any limit to which we can use it, or can we, in case required, can we use the full, reserve fund what we have, or full the sinking fund that we have? Can we use the full amount, or we have to keep minimum so much of amount?
This question was also answered directly. It is up to the general body to decide as to whether to exhaust all the money or to keep something in reserve. It's a question of decision to be taken by the general body, not by the committee, whether you would like to exhaust all the money, but there is no provision that you must retain certain part. Okay. Yeah.
I see the resolution in general body. I read the kind of statement that reserve fund can be distributed in members, like in 0. So new members and all members will be the same in provision. Correct.
See, the provision which is there in the Act does not allow certain societies to distribute the funds. However, if you manage to read that particular provision, I don't recollect the exact section, but there is a provision which says that this particular fund does not include the funds to which the money has come from the profit of the society. If the money has come from the profit of the society, net profit, then that fund can be distributed amongst the members, and there are the societies redevelopment के time पे काफी they are distributing.
The water charges will be like area, or it will be.
Friends, we are not discussing about water charges today, but even then it is depending on inlet tap. इतना inlet है, 3 bedroom का है तो 4 inlet होगा, 2 bedroom का तो 3 inlet होगा, depending on that. PNC is not a district bank. It is a state level bank. So what is the state and district? Let me tell you. Multi-state, state and district. These are the various categories of cooperative institutions. डिस्ट्रिक्ट जो होता है उसमें लिखा हुआ रहता है स्वयं मुंबई डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, समथिंग लाइक दैट, एंड ऑल अदर बैंक्स महाराष्ट्र स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, the state level bank. PMC is also.
Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank is also in trouble because of the.
All banks are going to be in trouble. Cooperative bank, by and large. Yes. Yes. Yes, it will come as a cooperative bank.
If the society have invested, spend the money on litigation for recovery of the money against some defaulter member, or any litigation against because of the fault of some member, then all those legal expenses can be recovered from that particular member?
See, this is a very important question. If you refer to the provisions in bylaw number 66, which has about 13 entries, one of the entry legal expenses. Now legal expenses are the expenses which are to be borne and paid by all the members of the society equally. It is coming under the category service charges. Service charges are defined under bylaw number 66 अभी नया वाला और 68 जो जून पहले का था वो. So legal expenses, strictly speaking, are the expenses of the society and therefore cannot be collected. However, let me tell you, I have been advising the client कि आप charge करो. The reason is you can also